Just recently, smart devices for motorcycles have become really popular. And if you saw my last video on the Car Puride W502, you will know that these devices are here to stay. And I was originally skeptical about them, but now I think they're a really good idea, especially for bikes like the V-STROM 1050DE, where you actually have a proper mount for this sort of device. The AIO-5 Lite, this device here, comes with a front and rear camera as well, so it has an inbuilt dash cam system as well. It also enables you to have other devices added to the system. I've got the tyre pressure sensors on this system as well, so you can actually monitor your tyre pressures as you go along. This particular one today, we have the tyre pressure sensors, we have the front and rear cameras, and also as well it comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This device also has its own GPS module as well, which allows you to see speed and distance travelled, and it also has an altimeter, so the height and stuff like that. So why don't we delve into it a bit more and get it out of the box. In this unboxing session, the only thing that it doesn't have is the external remote. I got that later on, but we will talk about that remote later on in the video.
Tom's TC.
Here is the AIO-5 unit in its box. I did also order a crossbar mounting, but I don't think I'll need this because this has got a really nice flush mount on it already. And this is the external tyre pressure sensors, which just go on the top of your valves. When we install it, we'll go through all of that. So start with this. So it's quite a nice box. Instruction manual. And then we have the unit. This is the main unit. And the cables. Let me lift that out. And we have two cameras here. Let's just pop out like so. So I'm guessing the shorter cable is for the front, and the longer one is for the back of the bike, through the holes like so. And then we have a box labelled A. We have keyring, nice touch. We have the power cable that goes to the battery. And we have the GPS module as well. Moving on to box B. In box B, some stickers and some cable tidies. The mount for the screen, which like I said is actually quite flush already, so we shouldn't need the crossbar mount. Some reducers so that if it doesn't fit a crossbar you can make it a bit smaller. Some more cable ties, a couple of tools, and some 3M tape. I believe this is for the cameras to mount onto the bike. And then this is the external tyre pressure monitors. These just go on the end of your valves. There we go. So let's move over to the bike and do a quick install and see how it works. Mounting the Chigee is like mounting any other accessory on a motorcycle. You need to take the seat off to get to the battery and run the cables up to it. I managed to mount it to the battery quite easily and run the cables up down the side here. Taking off the side of the motorcycle fairing is a bit of a job, but it's not the end of the world. The Chigee comes with several cables, two for the cameras, front and rear. It also comes with a GPS mount as well, and obviously the power going to it. So you do need to find somewhere for those cables to go, which is a little bit of a mission because they're quite thick cables, although they are quite bendy. On the V-STROM, there's a gap behind the screen, which enables you to actually to bunch those cables up behind quite neatly. And I've managed to run those cables down the side of the screen here. It's quite a neat install, if I do say so myself. The camera mounting was particularly difficult. I've mounted the front camera down here and under the beak. It comes with some really good adhesive. Make sure you just give it a good clean up with some chain cleaner or something like that before you put it on to get rid of any greasy parts. There's also a camera mounted at the back. I'm still not massively happy with that position. I might readdress that position of that camera, but overall it's absolutely fine. The Chigee AIO-5 Lite is really fast to boot up. Unfortunately, you can't change the boot up screen like you can on the car Purides, but it's not the end of the world. That is only really a gimmick anyway. But the device itself is really well made. It's solid. The bracket is actually cast aluminium rather than plastic, apart from this bit here. It comes with plenty of mounts to enable you to mount it nice and straight and in the position that you want. When the device boots up, you get this initial connection, which is basically miles per hour, the direction you're facing with a compass, your tire pressure, if that's what if you have the tire pressure sensors as well. So I thought now what we would do is we'll take it out on the road. You can see what it's like on the road.
Domstisy.
Here we are out on the bike, and we've got the Chigee AIO-5 mounted on the bike, as you can see. And I really like this actually. It sits really well on the V-STROM. It almost looks like it's made to be there, which is fantastic. As I've spoken about before, I've already mounted this directly to the battery, just because it gives me more of an insight as to what's going on. This one's got a lot of gadgets and gizmos and readings that you want to see before you actually start the bike up, and one of those, which is really handy, is the tyre pressure monitor. Just turn it on. So obviously the Suzuki starts up, and then you've got the Chigee sign that comes up as well, and then it boots in. And you've got a really nice display here. Yeah. So obviously the device will boot into Android Auto when you boot it up, if it's connected to your phone, which is again something we've already talked about. Now, when it boots, you've got your miles per hour because it's connected to the GPS. This is obviously the light version, so you get the GPS and you get the video with it. So you've got your speed, direction, and also you have the tyre pressures. Now at the moment they're reading 39 and 42. They're pretty accurate actually. I did actually check that. The book recommends on the V-STROM 42 rear and about 38 front. So we'll see how that goes. I'm quite interested to see how they fluctuate as time goes on. And obviously the video, you just tap, that's your front camera, and then you've got a rear camera facing back as well. And this will record for 3 minutes at a time, give you a nice overlay as well. But the back camera, you notice, has this red line here, and what that's for is for blind spot alerts. So as you're riding along, if something comes into that blind spot and you move around or look like you're going to move over, you'll get an alert, which is quite handy, I thought. You've also got elevation. But at the moment, I think what we're going to do is the Android Auto, we know what it does. You've seen in my previous video for the CarPlay, it's exactly the same. You can do your navigation through Google Maps, etc, etc. So what we're going to focus on is this. So what we've got, this is another screen that we can use. This has got your speed, you've got your voltage of your battery, which is quite handy as well, altitude, time that you've been using it, and also when you're finished, and when you turn the bike off, if you turn the bike off for now example, it'll give you a little summary of your trip, which is quite nice as well. So obviously we haven't gone anywhere, but today I've done 1.5 miles already, and the device will turn off after 8 seconds. Like so. So when you turn the bike back on, you'll boot back into the Chigee screen, like so. It boots back into this automatically, and you get your speed, direction, and your tyre valve. And it works pretty well on my gloves, but I've got these Oxford touch tip things, which I've spoken about in previous videos as well. Let's get a move on anyway. We're just going to get a little ride around, see how this works and see how this performs in this beautiful sunshine that we've got today. I'm already really impressed with how well you can see it, even through my dark visor. I can see it really well. You can change those settings on the background if you're not happy with these ones as well. But as we're riding along, I'll try and change it over to video. The speed is a bit behind your normal speedo, and we've got an alarm for the tyre pressures. That's interesting. So I need to change that, but we can change the settings on that. So if we go into here, features, and we can change the value, the higher point value. Just get my finger right on that. These aren't touch gloves. I do it at 45 just for now, and we'll have a look at that another time. I don't think there's anything to worry about this stage. So that won't alarm me unless it's 45 psi. 42 is actually what the bike, the manual recommends. Could probably do with bringing that down a couple of psi. But as you can see what I was talking about, there's a little bit of lag on the speed between the speedo and your bike, but it gives you an idea. It does get there eventually. But like I said, it's perfectly legible. You've also got the other option, other screen, which shows you just a little bit more on the screen, little bit numbers. Like I said, it's a beautiful bright day. I can see everything on that screen. So according to me, I'm doing, it's about 2 or 3 miles per hour behind this, which is interesting. The GPS is mounted on the front behind the screen. But honestly, it feels fantastic. I really like having that to look at actually. So we can go back to the other screen, like so, and we can bring up the video. So it almost acts as a rear view screen, which is quite handy. So we've got the front camera up the top left and the rear camera taking over, and you can just cycle through by tapping it. Gives you other options, whether you want to record, and you can actually keep the recording by pressing the lock key on the top, and that will actually keep the recording for about 3 minutes as well. But I'll bring up some of these recordings on the screen now to show you what the quality actually looks like. And you just basically download it through an app or on your phone. It's pretty cool. You can change what overlays you want, like speed, elevation, that kind of stuff. So Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are essentially the same thing. They just mirror what's on your phone, which is really handy if you've got like navigation files and even GPX files that you want to show on your screen. The little red light in the corner, if you can see it, is just because it's recording. That's the dash cam aspect of it. So as we're riding along here, we'll go to Car Link, and then that will open up the Android Auto. So you've got maps on the right, music on the left, and that's all you need. So you can either use that directly or you can use it from your phone and set it up ready to go. You can also get a remote control for this that actually sits on your handlebar, which is probably quite a handy thing to have, which saves you reaching out with your finger all the time. As you can see, this system is really good. One thing I must say is that Chigee actually sent me this device for review. I'm not bigging it up. This is exactly as it comes out of the box. It's a great device. However, it is quite pricey when you compare it to the other cheaper options. Compared to the Carpuride, this is a better quality device. This feels like it's been made to a specification. It's hardy. It feels like that they thought about motorcyclists rather than just chucking the Android Auto onto a screen. However, I'm not saying that the Carpuride is a bad device. I think that's a really good device for the money. This is quite a lot more expensive. I'll put the prices up here. You've got the screen. You can buy the screen on its own, or you can buy the Lite with the added cameras front and rear. You can add the tyre pressure sensor as well as an added extra. You can also add the remote control as well, which is, I think this is a really good part of this. It's a shame that it doesn't come with the device. The box and everything else feels good. The tools that you get with it feel good. I feel like they thought about every eventuality to make it fit on most motorcycles. Like I've said previously, this will not go on the M201. The M201 will not have devices like this. Bikes like the V-STROM, yeah, I think it has a place, and it really, really fits in well with what I want. There's a few issues, obviously, because this is an Android Auto, it doesn't connect directly to your microphone in your headset on your helmet. That is controlled from your phone. So turning the volume up and down is a no-go. You either have to use your helmet, or what I do is I have a button on the handlebar which connects directly to the phone to control the volume. However, you do need to make sure your Bluetooth devices are connected to your phone before you turn your motorcycle on and connect up your Android Auto, otherwise it doesn't work particularly well. So I would like to see some sort of volume control brought into the future with the updates as they go along. So yeah, you need to bear that in mind. The voice commands don't work particularly well. It can't hear the microphone because the microphone's connected to the phone and not direct to the device. So if you're doing voice commands, they're going to come through on your phone, which can sometimes be a bit confusing. Apart from that, I think it's a great device. It is expensive, like I've said. I think it's quite pricey for what it is. I think there are other navigation systems out there that are probably cheaper, Carpuride, for example, and other dedicated systems. But you can make... Sorry, I keep tapping that because it's an external battery, and I need to keep the battery powering that. It makes any bike without these systems an instant upgrade. And I think if you were to, for example, to get a BMW with something like this, and they also do a dedicated BMW system that works with the toggle wheel, if you were to buy a BMW system, you're looking at about £1,000 upwards. So I think this is a good value device for what it is. Yeah, so I would buy this with my own money if I had the money to buy something like this and I was looking for it. But overall, it's going to be featuring in the channel more and more. Obviously, as updates come through from Chigee, it's going to make it better and better. A few things I haven't mentioned. All the dashcam files that you record can actually be downloaded straight from your phone as well, using the Chigee app. So that's also really handy. You can also connect the Chigee directly to your computer to download those files if you need them. One issue with these devices is theft. Now, Chigee, I think, have done a really good job to make this thing non-nickable or stealable if you're anywhere else but the UK. It features torque security bolts, so you need a special tool to actually remove those. It's unlikely that someone's going to be carrying a torque security screwdriver or tool to actually get that device off. And if they're going to remove it, it's really going to be breaking the device, so it's not going to be good to anybody. So, you know, it stays on the bike. It doesn't go anywhere. You don't unclip it. And again, that's part of the idea. It's a permanent fixture on your motorcycle. There's an external SD card slot that you can put into the machine, which means it'll just record more footage onto there, so it'll give you more storage. I haven't really needed it. It records a video every 3 minutes, so it overwrites as it goes down. You can lock the videos as well by pressing the lock key at the top, so it won't overwrite those videos. It has a security system as well, so if the bike gets knocked or moved, or it senses any sort of movement, it will record and it will tell you when you turn the bike on that there's a recording from when the bike was still. So it's quite a good feature as well. Again, a great device. I am really chuffed with it. It looks great on the bike. I've had lots of questions about it already, and yeah, so I'm well happy. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time watching Tom's TC, please give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe, give me a comment please down below. It all really, really helps. Thanks again. I'll see you next time on Tom's TC.